So here's a look at the supplies that I bring with me to church. The very first thing would be, of course, my note-taking Bible, and it has room for taking notes, and often the only thing I will do is write directly into the margins. At one point, I would have my Bible and then a notebook, and I would just fill it with notes and then hope at some point that I would write it into my Bible. And what ended up happening was that they were just getting stuck in the notebooks and not in the Bible. Now, occasionally there is someone who I know is going to speak fast, or I just notice as the person is speaking that their points really go together and I don't necessarily want to break it up by point. So I'll tear out one of these sheets and take my notes directly into this. And as I've started to run out of room, I went to the dollar store. I had bought this at the dollar store, and I found these also. And so there's room for notes. This one at the bottom of each one has a Bible verse, so that's kind of nice. This one, I think the notes on this one are at the top of the page. And here are some different sized books. So each time I would have my Bible in my lap, and then I tear out a sheet and I just take the notes right into here if I need to. My preference though is to put everything into the Bible. Now the other supplies I have are, of course, my pens. And these are my Micron pens. And I use all of these colors in my coding system. So as I'm taking notes, I know my system so well that I just grab the pen as they're speaking and use the color that I need. But if I do end up using one of these notebooks, just a piece of paper, I use another pen, and I have a few different versions, whatever feels comfortable at the time to write fast. Then I'll use that pen because I don't want to waste the ink in these for something that's a note that I'm going to hopefully eventually transfer into my Bible. The other thing that I always want to have on hand are what I use to highlight. So these highlighters are the mild liners, and I actually don't like using them. I have used them in the Bible, but I found that they would show through very badly onto the next page. And when I'm on that other page, I don't want to be distracted by coloring from the other side. And I found that the pens, while they don't show through, which is nice, I found out that they aren't protected from water. So if they did get damp in any way, they will go through to the next page, which makes me think that they do eventually blade through. So what I've ended up using are just these twistable crayons as highlighters, and they match my color coding system that I use for my pens. Another bag that I use in my Bible study, and I just have this with me for church, although I might not use it for church, whiteout. So I find this handy just right at the moment. You can just white it out. Some scissors, some alternate pens to use. I never use them in my Bible, but I might use them with those notebooks. It's a glue stick. I use that for gluing pages into my Bible, which that will come up in another video. I'm going to show how I do it. Some Blistex, some headphones, a measuring tape, a ruler, sticky note. That can come in handy if somebody has information you want to get it off their computer. This Post-it note I use a lot, and this is for if I have a question, something I want to come back to. So as you can see in my Bible, there are these little yellow tabs, and I actually write a question. So this is any place that as I've been learning something, I have a question. I write the question mark on there, and so any of these yellow tabs are things that I have questions that I know God's going to work on. I'm going to be able to talk to somebody at church, or God will reveal it later in His Word. So typically when I go to church, I bring this bag with me. It's just a tote bag that I found at Kmart right before they closed. I think it's just one of those leather light. It's kind of starting to fall apart, but it fits what I need it to fit with me for most times when I go to church. I like to tuck in my Yeti in the side, and I like to put some water and peppermint oil in it, and it has a nice little Bible verse. And just in case you're curious, to get this engraved on it is the same price as if you were just to put your name, so you can personalize it with your favorite verse. And I just love looking at that and thinking of all the things that God can do for us and through us and in us, and He can change us. He's such a mighty God. And I have this bag in the bottom of personals. So what I have right at the top are this little bag with pads. You never know when you might need one, or someone you know needs one. Little thing of some gum, which has come open. This is a first aid kit. I do have kids, so you always want to be prepared. And then it doesn't really have much in it. I'd like to improve it a little bit, but there's a little tick grabber. Have a little comb. These are some flossers. You never know when something's stuck in your teeth. Some deodorant, more chapstick, Blistex, elastic band, peppermint oil. As I mentioned, I like to add a drop of peppermint oil to my water. And it's the doTERRA. And I've just found it kind of cleanses your mouth, refreshes your breath, helps with stomach issues, all of that. So I do it every glass of water. Just do a little drop. And a toothbrush, and I'm looking to add a thing of toothpaste in here. So I'm just ready for any kind of problem I have. So that is kind of look at all the supplies.